Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is the APC 2023 youngest presidential aspirant and Deputy National Youth Coordinator of APC Presidential Campaign Council, Nicholas Felix, for discussion on youth potential and the task of fixing the Nigerian economy. It's With Politics Tonight. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with Politics Tonight. Now to our interview with with our guest of the day. I am joined by the APC 2023 youngest presidential aspirant and Deputy National Youth Coordinator of APC Presidential Campaign Council, Nicholas Felix, for discussion on youth potential and the task of fixing Nigerian economy. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Dr. Felix.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Right, good to have you on Politics Tonight. Permit me to start this conversation with some bit of curiosity. You're the youngest APC presidential candidate, and many expected that you will be offered an appointment. Why not yet?
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that, but we're still waiting. We're hopeful, and that will happen. So I really cannot tell why it hasn't happened yet. But I know I haven't been able to meet with Mr. President since the election. I know that plays that definitely is one reason. I know if I had met him or if I get to meet with the president, that will definitely be taken care of. But we're here, we're still waiting. We're here to serve, and we're hoping that will happen soon.
All right, then. Now, let's quickly move on. And I would like us to start with appointment of youths by the president into his government. What's your impression?
Oh, I mean, we cannot thank Mr. President enough for fulfilling his promise. As you can see, we have a lot of youth in the cabinet and even in agencies. So many young men and women. We cannot thank Mr. President for keeping to his words. And as you can see, some of the young ministers are doing extremely very well. So I'll give Mr. President a pass, not just a pass, excellent mark for keeping to his word, having youth in his cabinet. Majority of the appointment, they've all been young men and women. So we're grateful. And I want to say to Mr. President, on behalf of the Nigerian youth, thank you for believing in us and thank you for carrying us along. We're really grateful. And I believe this is the first of many, and this will be an example for future administration to ensure that the Nigerian youth are not pushed aside.
Right, so I want us to take a look at some of these appointments and their portfolios. How critical will you describe them?
Of course, every appointment, especially when you're speaking about a ministerial appointment, they are very critical. They have a key role that they play. For example, the Minister of Interior, which you and I know, and I think a lot of people are saying he's the best minister so far. Let me even quickly say, he's a young man, I think a 41-year-old Dr. Olubumi, and that tells you that when young people are given opportunity to serve, they will do extremely well. And if he's watching, I want to say, sir, we are very proud of you, the Nigeria youth. We're proud that you're representing us very well, because I know if he wasn't doing well and others also, by now people will be clamoring and shouting that the youth have been given an opportunity to serve and they are not doing well. So he's doing very well. Who would have thought that the Minister of Interior has such a critical role to play? Look at all the great things he has done, the backlog of passports. I was flying in a few weeks ago. There was no line. Even the approach of the immigration officers, a lot has changed. So that is an office that most people usually don't, pay attention to. Interior. Sometimes they don't even know the responsibility of the Interior Minister. It tells you that every office is important. It depends on who the driver is. So they're all critical. Is it the Minister of Aviation? He has a lot to do. I heard about the announcement that when you airline delay your flight or whatever, there will be compensation. I bet that is going to cause the airline to sit up. A few days ago, I was coming from Edo State, my state, and without any announcement, sitting at the airport, after 6 hours, there were no flights. Measures like these are going to put airlines in place. So every office, every ministry, they have key roles to play. Is it the Minister of Women Affairs? He has a lot to do. So I believe as they are carrying out their duty, many of them are by now should know exactly what their responsibilities are. We want to see more happening. And I can tell you, Mr. President is watching, and the young ministers, the young people who have been appointed, they're doing very well. And for somebody like me, I'm very happy to see that happen.
So when you look at the Ministry of Youth and the ministers that have been appointed, how critical do you consider the task ahead of them?
Oh, yes. The Ministry of Youth is very, very critical. I'm expecting a whole lot to happen. The population of Nigeria, you and I know, we have more youth in this country. And when we talk of youth development, it encompasses every area, from the education to our well-being, everything about youth that concerns us. I often say the Ministry of Youth is one that can interact with every other ministry. You can interact with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, can interact even with the Minister of Women Affairs, because you have youth also, young women. So that ministry is very critical. There are so much to be done. It's a ministry that you're supposed to interact, get things, what affect the average Nigerian. Who are those looking for jobs? It's not our fathers who have retired or many who are close to being retired. Everyone looking for job today, they are young men and women, many who have skills, many who are just graduating. So the youth has a lot. Anything happening in Nigeria, good or bad, we suffer more. So the Ministry of Youth, there is a lot for them to do. And now we have not just one. Mr. President separated it. We have the Minister of Sport, then we have youth development, both federal and state, which means the president understands the importance of that. And that's why I appointed 2 ministers in that ministry. So we're expecting them to get busy, get working. A lot needs to be done for the Nigeria youth.
Right. Dr. Felix, now looking at this appointment across board, talking about the ministries, the agencies, the parastatals, how confident are you about the ability of some youths in the government to deliver?
Yes, I'm very confident. Again, if you look at, I know it's just one we're mentioning, who is doing very well. And I will use opportunity also to say to everyone, especially if you're a young man, if you're a young woman, a lot of people fought for this. Beginning from 2018, clamoring for youth in governance. Past President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Not Too Young to Run bill into law. That's why people like us at the age of 36 were able to contest. There are a lot of people who have been clamoring, shouting, and I said it very clearly. The only reason I took such an amount of money to go to the campaign ground on the day of the primary election is not just because I know I was going to win the entire election. Few weeks ago, it was clear that we weren't going to win, but we went ahead. So just because we wanted the voice of the youth to be heard. So if you're a young man, a young woman, you've been given an opportunity to serve, whether as in the ministry or as a head of an agency, it is very important that you sit up. And we have one who has set the pace. We all need to follow. But like everyone may not perform at the same level. Some may fall short. But at least we want to see a great number of the young men and women who have been appointed doing their best and, getting the job done. I believe as we're entering the new year, this has been an election year. We are in festive period. A lot has been going on. Some just got appointed maybe 1 or 2 months ago. I want to believe as we begin the new year from January, we're going to see a lot of actions, a lot of things getting done left and right. We need to get busy. Mr. President is doing a lot, moving all over the place, traveling back and forth, getting things done. As a minister, as a head of an agency, you cannot sit down. The president is moving, working hard to get things done. You are the fingers, you are the hands of the president. They need to get busy.
Right. So when you consider presently Nigeria is facing economic hardship. What roles do you think youth can play to ensure revival?
Of course, youth have a lot to play, but that's if the jobs are there. First of all, I've always said that youth need to be in governance. And now youth are in governance. And I'm expecting that the youth will begin to bring out policies. Those who are in ministries, who are heading agencies, begin to think about the average youth out there, things that they can do to benefit the youth. If we don't have nothing to do, there's no way we can make impact. You see, one of the reasons I joined politics is understanding that politics is one vehicle, it's an avenue to bring people out of poverty. That's why you can have the richest black man in Africa from a place like Nigeria And you're wondering, why are there still poor people? If the richest black man in Africa is from Nigeria, it's because the government have a lot to play on why youth, young men and women will come out of poverty. So we have a lot to play if the opportunity is given. Politically, the opportunity has been given to us, and we hope that those who are there, we do the needful. But in terms of the private sector, there's still a lot to do. We need entrepreneurs, youth. I often tell young men, if you don't have a job, create one for yourself. There's so much for us as youth to do, but we also need an enabling environment to get that done. The other day I was speaking on a show, and I said I would love to see that youth get the opportunity to register businesses. Probably announce 50%, 70% off. In other words, if you want to register a business as a young man, probably under 45, or as a young woman under 45, to encourage them to become entrepreneurs, we're going to give you 50%. If it costs 100,000 naira, probably pay 20,000. So we'll get more youth to become active, not just seeking employment, creating job for themselves. There's just so much to do in Nigeria. With all the issues we have, it means there are also opportunities out there. But they need to be encouraged, they need to be motivated. The enabling environment needs to be there for us to be able to thrive as young men and women.
Right. So earlier you talked about youth inclusion. And I mean, let's be honest here. It's a known fact that some youths have occupied some key positions but failed to deliver. What do you think this sets of youths can do to avoid pitfalls?
Of course, there's an example set before them. And also, I would say to them, a lot are on us. There has been so much noise making about this youth in governance. You have the opportunity. You cannot afford to fail us. I said on channels before the election some time ago that any youth given an opportunity and you fail to deliver, before the government comes after you, we will come after you. We'll start calling names out, because what else can we ask for? The president promised ministers. We have a lot of them there in the cabinet. We talk about DGs. Majority of them are young men and women. You cannot afford to fail us. They need to get on board soon, and very soon. We will start calling them out. There's so much to be done. The fault cannot just be president. These days, if rain don't fall, everybody blames the president. If it rains too much, everybody blames the president. But sometimes people forget that the president does not just do everything by himself. He has cabinet. He has from the cabinet members, you get to the DGs, to the MDs, who are the one who carry out the responsibility. So as a young man, as a young woman, if you have been given an opportunity to serve, 1 month is enough for you to understand the office. Go in there and get the job done, so that people like us, we have voice when we come on stations like this. We'll be proud and be celebrating that young men and women are working. But if they are not, there's nothing much for us to say. So we're watching, we're looking at them. Once it gets 2-3 months from now, we'll start calling out names. We're not going to wait for president to get on board, firing them before we say something, because we must sustain this. Youth must continue being in governance. 5-10 years from now, some of us who are shouting as youth now, we will no longer be youth. You have to understand that. So this battle is not just for us. It's for those who are 20s that are coming up. But we understand that youth in governance is very, very important. Now we have the opportunity. We don't want to be shamed by those who are against it. We don't want to be ridiculed by those who are against it. And that is what I'm saying to every young man and woman out there who have been given opportunity to serve at whatever level that you are. Take an example from Dr. Olugumi, who is working very hard. Be creative. Think out of the box. Get a very vibrant team around you. There's so much to do in Nigeria. Everywhere you turn to, there's so much to do. Things you can come up with to make sure you make the youth proud, the youth of this nation proud.
Right, but why do you think Nigerian youths are yet to achieve that level of inclusion required to gain representation in governance and politics?
We have it already. The past administration, I know the former minister of youth. He wasn't a young man. He was in his 50s. Right now, we have a young lady as the minister of youth. We have a young man there. We have Dr. Tijani, a young man. Even look at the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, wonderful Dr. Betta, a young woman, very vibrant. So we're already included in this administration. So we can no longer cry that we are not included. I mean, we are not expecting to drive all of them, our fathers away or away. Well, we are included. We are on the table. It is now left to us to bring out the best. I said it some time ago, and I'm going to repeat it again. No matter the position you occupy, as a young man, as a young woman, you must think about the youth. You know how it feels, what it means to be a youth. You understand the pain. Even if you are not feeling the pain, you understand the pain of the average Nigerian youth. So policies, ideas, things, training, whatever that will benefit the average, that will get us busy. That is what we should be thinking about. So in the area of inclusion, at least at the federal level, if we are talking about the state level, yes, there are some states who ask the governors, please do better than what you're doing. But at the federal level, we can't even ask for more. I mean, we can ask for more, but we can't blame the president that we've not been included. Look at even the SAs, so many of the SAs. How many of them are even in their 60s? Many of them are in their 30s, in their 40s. I don't know how much more we can ask for. That's why I said, a few months from now, we are not going to wait for the president to take action. If we see you're not working, we're going to call you out, just like we are calling Dr. Olubimi Tijani, and saying you are doing a good job, sir. Keep it up. We're very proud of you. We commend you. So also we are going to be calling others to say, hey, we cried for this. People fought for this from 2018 up until now. We had a president who listened to us. Now he has given us the opportunity. Why are you disgracing us? Get busy. We have to get work. A lot needs to be done in our dear country, Nigeria.
Right. So let's look at the numbers. Nigeria has a large youthful population, accounting for 70% of the over 200 million population. How can this be harnessed to boost the Nigerian economy?
Yes. You see, there are so much we need to do to get in every Nigeria going. There's something I've been proposing. I'm wondering now why we don't have armed security in Nigeria. Let me just give me a few minutes to explain this. You see, for every problem, there's a solution. And that solution is what creates employment, supply and demand. During COVID, people became millionaires in dollars, not just in naira, who were producing hand sanitizers. Those who were producing masks, people became very rich. Why? There was a problem. And one of the solutions, to keep safe was putting on masks and putting on having hand sanitizer. Right now, that business has gone down a little bit. So what am I saying? One of the issues we have in Nigeria right now is the issue of security. So we should have armed security. I can bet you that if we roll out that plan, which the Minister of Interior can look into, he's been doing such a marvelous job. Every time I listen to him, I get very excited. I think he needs to look into this area, producing armed security. Because why? We have security issue in Nigeria. It's a problem, and we can fix it. When we have armed security, we can generate at least 3 to 4 million jobs for Nigeria youth within a space of 2 years. I know that for a fact because why? I have businesses here in Nigeria. I have filling stations where we need security. We have to close early. Every day my manager is telling me we cannot stay till 6 p.m. We have to close by 4 p.m. Why? Because we need security. Now I have to go and be looking for police officers. I need 1 or 2. I don't need to go to look for police officers. I can just call an agency, a security agency, and get my own security guard. I know this because I have a very big firm in America where I hire security, in several states in America. So I know that is going to generate a lot of income for the average Nigerian youth. Imagine 2 to 3 million jobs created. What is this benefit also? That is going to free up our police officers that have been assigned to reach people, to politicians, which is nothing bad. Anytime I hear people talk about it, it's nothing bad. If I need to be safe and I need security guards, maybe 5 police officers, and I can pay for it, I should be able to get it. So that will free up space, because every time we talk about hiring more police officers, the first thing we hear is, how do we pay them? We're not asking you to hire more officers anymore. We can free up those that are already hired by introducing armed guards. Of course, there are processes with that, we go through with that. There are policies that will be set, training schools, which again, the government don't have to be the one training them. Somebody can just register in Abuja, have a training school, have the manual. You want to be an armed guard, they train you. The company usually is the one that provides the gun license. There are procedures. That is going to free up our police officers and will create 3 to 4 million jobs across the nation within a space of 2 years.
Right. So, we cannot have this discussion centered on youth potential and the task of fixing Nigerian economy without looking into youth participation in politics, which is very critical. What do you think can be done to boost this?
Youth, the president has set the pace at the federal level. We need to sing more of it now at the state level. youth are already involved at the federal level. We expect, like I said, we expect them to perform, so our voice will not be silent. We expect them to speak out for the youth. I've said it and I'll keep saying it, regardless if you are whatever office you're occupying. If you're a young man there, understand that you must speak for the youth. The women, Minister of Women Affairs, for example, everything she does is all about the women, the women. The other day I saw her bought keke for the women, not for the men, even though most times it's men that drive keke, but her concern is the women because that's the office she occupies. So also, we want every young man to have their policies. Wherever you are, whatever office you're occupying, hiring people, think about the young men and women who just graduated, who went to school. Now we hear a phrase that school is scam in Nigeria. Why? How do you spend 4 years in university? You come out and yet you're looking for a job. So the youth have been involved in politics, but we just want to see more now, probably at the state level. And also those who have been appointed, those who have been voted, not just appointed. There are many youths who have been voted. We have young men and women who are senators. We have those who are House of Rep members. And soon, we're going to have young governors. So it's not just those who are appointed, those who have also been voted for. I think they really need to sit up and let's get Nigeria moving again.
Dr. Felix, yes, the president has set the pace, and I'm happy that you've acknowledged that Nigerian youths are asking for more. But there are those who have said the capacities of youth for full actualization are constrained by unequal access to power and resources, as well as some exclusionary norms and policies. Do you agree?
Of course. One of the reasons you hear me mention so much about appointment is because I've run 2 presidential elections, the first in 2019 and this last one. The first in 2019, I was a candidate in my nominated candidate in my party and went through the election. I know what it takes. I know the resources. So most times we don't have access to resources to get voted, to run an election, to get voted. And that's why you see at that level is very few. And, except we have men like, the president who believe in youth, but all of our leaders believe in youth. I can tell you that. There are so many of our leaders who don't care about youth. As a matter of fact, they see a young star rising up, they truncate the star. So that's why I get excited. People sometimes ask me, why do you support Mr. President so much? Because not everybody will see a young star who believe in young people, especially in our political space, that want to encourage them. So we have one who believes in the youth. He has set the pace. So, but in terms of appointment, probably as governors, you appoint your commissioners, you appoint your SAs. They need to look more into the area of youth, just like the president has done. Like I said, I would have been tempted to be asking for more, but hey, we got what we asked for. Probably before the next election, we're going to be asking Mr. President for more. And from there, all those who are currently appointed, like I said, think about how we can get more youth on board. You cannot forget thinking about the youth. To be voted for is very difficult because of resources, except you have somebody, because the average Nigeria don't know how to give, like where I'm used to. If you're contesting for an election in America, for example, you don't need to bring a dime from your pocket. You go out there, people support your vision. But in Nigeria, it's the opposite. It's either you have the money, as a matter of fact, they tag your capacity based on how much you have. No matter the ideas you have, you don't have money, you don't have capacity. That's what we know in Nigeria. So there are many young men out there who want to serve, but they cannot be voted for because the resources are not there. But at least they can be appointed. And that's why at the state level, we're going to ask for more so we can really see it. Now, it seems as if it's not much because it's just the presidents who have appointed. And even the ministers, those, your SAs, those who are working around you, we want to see more of youth. The president has set the pace, the example we must follow. And I repeat, every youth out there, if you have an opportunity to serve, whether appointed or elected, please make us proud so our voice will be louder.
Dr. Felix, let's take a break. I've been speaking with APC 2023 youngest presidential aspirant and Deputy National Youth Coordinator of APC Presidential Campaign Council, Nicholas Felix. We'll take a break and I'll be right back. Stay with us.